Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial-free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 0111191.
News coming in just now that Mexico agrees to send 10,000 troops to the U.S. border in exchange for a pause on the tariff that Donald Trump was placing on them. That was supposed to take effect, I think, sometime tomorrow. Or was it the tariffs went in? I think, tomorrow. And they were going to counter, so they're going to pause their tariff. And
10,000, is that enough?
Troops to the border. It's something, right? I mean, it's finally they're doing something to help assist what's happening there.
How big is the Mexican army? And my question with the Mexican army is not just how big is it. How willing are they to stand up to the cartels? Because I believe the cartel is the drug cartels in Mexico are the overwhelming military force, not the Mexican army. Like I feel like the Mexican army is bought and paid for by the cartels. So is that enough? If I'm Donald Trump, I said no. We need a little bit something more than that.
Well, it was enough because he agreed to it. He called the president of Mexico this morning, and they were speaking. I mean, that was the whole. I always saw this tariff thing as he's trying to get a reaction. He's trying to get something happening, and this is what he wanted for the southern border. So Mexico has agreed to deploy 10,000 troops to the U.S.-Mexican border in exchange for a 1-month delay on Donald Trump's threatened tariffs. Mexican President Claudia.
Oh, so this is like a month-to-month rental. Then
at this point, that's what we're
like,
looking at.
10,000 really didn't move the needle much, guys. We're going to go ahead and go with those tariffs again. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that as long as it's not in perpetuity for forever. They're like, okay, you know what? You sent 10,000 troops that one time. They're not really doing anything. Mike writes in.
The good news is we're gonna find out really soon what Trump has to say on Truth Social. If it was a good meeting. If it was a good conversation, you know what I mean? Where in the last 4 years, we really wouldn't have heard much. Actually, probably would have never heard from the actual president. And so now we'll find out if this was if he felt good. They're also going to be doing other things, to combat drugs. And that was the main issue that he was pushing with her is the drugs coming into the country, drug trafficking. So that's what they're going to be working on.
Mike writes in on the 805 beer text line. He says Mexican army consists of 2 amigos and a bottle of tequila. Is that nice? That's not nice to say.
Nothing Mike says is nice. It's funny to some.
I just don't know if 10,000 does 10,000 troops seem like a lot? I mean, the size.
I'm not here to break it down. I'm not in the military. I'm just saying it's something. I think he was looking to get a reaction. He got it. They had a phone call this morning.
Okay.
It was coming down to when they were going to kick in, and now he got what I think he wanted out of it, and that is more support to keep drugs out of the United States.
What was the tariff before? 10? It was going to be 10%?
We'll have to wait and see on it. 10% levy on goods from China, Mexico was 25.
Oh,
so, yeah. So the Saturday order was a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, I think you lower
10% to China.
You see, you got to be the big time negotiator that Donald Trump says he is, and you got to be like, okay, that'll knock 5% off. Now it's down to 20. What else can you give us? Can you give us some guarantees on those cartels? Because that's what's really killing us here. They're the ones pushing the drugs.
Jeff. Listen, I don't care about cartels. Listen, they're doing what they're going to do. I need a deal on avocados. If avocados go through the roof, it's going to be a major problem for guacamole and avocado.
Buy American.
There's not enough. There's not enough. There's not nearly enough avocados in the United States right now.
Jeremy, buy local.
What
you don't
where I live? You think they grow avocados
you don't believe in
the
buying
Northwest?
local?
No, they don't. They have to come from Mexico.
I mean, we have 10,000 people
California.
living in Morro Bay. They could pick the avocado.
Yes, buy local if you're in Morro Bay. But you know what? That's going to go quick. There's avocados there, but there's not enough to feed the nation. Now, yes, I would love to see
I'm with you on that one,
more
Beto.
and feed our own country. But at the same, in the meantime, if you want avocados, I mean, this is going to save avocado prices.
Not that Beto writes in on the 805 beer text lines. He says Mexico needs to take notes from the president of El Salvador. El Salvador has got it on lockdown. Have you ever seen that video where they have they show the El Salvadorian prisons? No. and the living conditions in those.
I don't know
prisons.
anything about El Salvador.
It is like, well, El Salvador.
I don't think that's something that's real public. I think you have to kind of go search that out. So tell us about El Salvador.
El Salvador prison is like 150 guys sharing 6 bunk beds, living in a cement cell. And you know why they do that? Because they want them not to break the law. And if they've broken the law so severe that they have to spend the rest of their life in there, so be it. That's law and order. And El Salvador doesn't have a crime problem, like all the other Central America and South America countries that have lax
and you know
rules.
what? I don't know if we ever get there. We could get pretty close with half the country, but the other half of the country is too soft and is too sensitive to ever let something like that happen. Let's let prisoners out of jail. Let's close down the prisons. Let's get rid of the cops. Let's get rid of ICE. These were conversations that came out over the weekend from Democratic legislators.
I disagree, Mike. Mike says the only imports that are worth it from Canada are hockey players and crappy beer. I disagree. I believe Canadians make better beer than Americans.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
they make good beer.
Well,
they make one kind of good beer.
Yes,
I think it's a lager.
I'm sorry.
Is it a lager?
Yes.
Yeah, they make really good lager.
Mass-produced beer. I'm talking about mass-produced beer. I mean, like Labatt's Blue will beat, for a taste test, will likely beat Coors and Budweiser.
I don't know, man. I had it recently. It tasted closer to Michelob Ultra.
No, Labatt's Blue doesn't taste anything like Michelob.
Which is becoming way too popular.
Did you see they were booing the United States national anthem at a hockey game in Canada over the weekend?
Yes, yeah, because of the tariffs. Yeah,
I say bring it. We don't need your damn hockey. We actually no. This is how it works, Canada. We take all your hockey teams and we move them to places into the United States. Just ask the Winnipeg Jets. We can make hockey great again, too.
93.3 KZOZ rocks.
Mexico has just agreed to send 10,000 troops to the U.S. border in exchange for a tariff pause for 1 month. President Trump and the president of Mexico, President Claudia Sheinbaum, they spoke this morning and worked out some sort of temporary deal. Nothing right now that I've heard of anything going on with Canada. Justin Trudeau.
If they send 10 red-suited policemen on horseback to the border, 10,000. 10,000, will that match Mexico's deal? And then they would. I'm talking about the RCMPs, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, because they do some police work on horseback in Canada.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. If there's 10,000 in the country and they send those 10,000 Mounties to the border, will that be enough to lift their 25% tariff?
I don't know.
I don't know. Does Canada have
horses? Crap a lot. I mean,
do they have a military? Do they have a military?
Can we not bring the horses?
Well, maybe that's how you build the wall, Jeremy. That's how you build the wall. Nobody wants to cross. Nobody wants to cross that. Nobody wants to cross that.
You forget I live pretty close to Canada. I don't want to smell that.
I heard over the weekend, pretty astonishing, during the Biden administration, all the immigrants that came in, 6,000 of the immigrants that came in across the southern border, a little over 6,000 were on international terrorist watch lists, whereas the ones that came through Canada.
You mean 6,000 that they know of?
Yeah, that they know of, that they were able to track.
I did not know that.
The ones that came in from Canada, 12,000, double what came in. Yeah. So, like, Canada's border just as much a problem, if not more so, than the Mexican border.
Here's Justin Trudeau Lame duck, right? Isn't he on his way out?
Yeah, he said he's quitting. So, like, I don't even know what he's doing talking. Stop talking. Like, take a cue from Joe Biden. He stopped talking once he quit.
Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Ooh.
This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives.
Good luck. Like, there's 330 million people there. Here, there's like 30 million there. So we got you outnumbered a little bit on that one. So what, I don't know what you're buying that we're manufacturing, that you're going to be charged a tariff on, but I don't think we buy as much from you as you do from us.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So that's fine. Go ahead and instill those tariffs all you want. It's going to be a net loss game for Canada.
So when Beto wrote in, he says that we need to take more notes from the president of El Salvador. Mm-hmm. What would the president of El Salvador do
when it comes to tariffs?
Just put a bunch of guys in a prison? I mean,
if you're a criminal, you go to prison.
That's it. That's all he's got. He's just a
hey, do those prisons they have reporters that go into the prisons, and then they ask the guys, they're like, hey, would you if you'd have known your life was going to be like this, would you have committed the crime? They're like, no. no way. No way. I mean, they're literally sleeping on concrete with no blankets.
Brian, Mayor of Napomo, go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Excellent.
Pretty good.
I heard El Salvador, and I just wanted to let you guys know. What do you think El Salvador is going to be doing today?
Don't know. That's a very Don and Los Osos question.
They're going to be buying the Bitcoin dip.
Oh, that's El Salvador switched their currency to crypto, and it looked like it was a horrible idea in the beginning.
It goes and flows. It's a 4-year cycle.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I was thinking, since we have
we
have Brian here to kick this off here, since Canada is kind of being a little bitch, and they always are.
Oh,
and
you know what we're going to do, Jeremy? We're changing all the Tim Hortons to George Washingtons.
Well, hopefully they don't get rid of that gravy on the fries.
Left to run you.
Yeah, that's
There's
right.
nowhere left to run you, Leafs. The day of the rake has come.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.
Go ahead, Rick, on the 805 beer text lines. Says that the USA uses approximately 21 million barrels of oil a day. However, we import 10.5 million barrels a day from Canada and Mexico. So that's 5.75. 5.75 per if you're going to split it up even. And we got the Mexico thing situated, right? We're like, they're not going to charge us tariffs. We're not going to charge them tariffs. But Canada...
Got a month to figure out what we're going to do.
Canada will charge us tariffs. So he says if they stop sending us fuel, our economy is not going to fare very well. I thought we were going to just go back to using our own oil and not have to be reliant on Canada and Mexico and Venezuela and everywhere else.
There is a thought process. It takes a long time to get these new wells to come online. But I mean, somebody said 10 years. Come on, man. Have you not seen Landman? Get your ass together.
10 years?
They could do it on Paramount Plus in a day. Then we could turn this thing around.
Well, I mean, they had that North Dakota thing flowing like crazy.
See, part of what when he was throwing these tariff threats out there and he says we're doing it, now we're going to do it, is he's trying to get a reaction because I don't think he really wants to do that.
It's a negotiation.
It's a negotiation. That's how I see it. Other people may say, other things, but it's a negotiation. He's literally he's forcing him to talk to him. So now it's already happened with Mexico. He wanted to support at the southern border. He's getting it. Is it perfect? I have no idea, but I'm not the president. This isn't my plan.
Mayor of Napomo says that you should double check the flow of the pipeline in and out of Canada. I guess there might be some problems with those numbers. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
People
let's
are
see
just
here.
questioning it.
Wanted to get to some numbers in the Red Zone Challenge. David Rosenbluth was the only guy to repeat this year. So congratulations to David. That means Phil Lee now lives with the Stones and Zeppelin as the most played bands for winners this year in the Red Zone Challenge. Atascadero, the most winningest city this year. They had 5 winners.
You did
come
it,
out of
Phil.
8 towns.
Good job. You've gotten mentioned in the same breath as the Stones and the Zeppelins. By the way, I saw the Stones won a Grammy last night. That's cool, I guess.
They did?
Yeah. Best album or something? I don't know.
I stopped watching celebrity award shows.
I have no idea what the like. I was looking over the list of winners. I don't know many. Like the Beatles and the Stones won, and I think they were charity awards because they're like nobody pays attention to rock in this celebrity world that we live in of flash in the pan artists. I saw Jelly Roll was beat by Beyonce for country artist or a country album or something like that,
She beat everybody for Country Album of the Year.
including Jelly Roll.
By the way, Jelly Roll's already lost 150 pounds, Jeff.
Wow.
150 pounds. We'll hear from him later.
Is that
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
decades, and for the sake of climate change and all that stuff, have decided to shut those facilities down. So now we have to start it back up. So there will be cost that goes into starting that infrastructure back up. But we have a guy that really wants to build back better. I mean, it's just not just a slogan. He wants to build back better, and hopefully we're not reliant on Canada for the oil and Mexico for the oil. And, I mean, once you become reliant on anybody for anything, it's kind of a fool's errand, right? Like if you can't be self-sufficient, you can't be self-sufficient. Did you hear the Kenyan president last week? His comments. Apparently, we're no longer going to send federal aid to Kenya anymore. And the old president was there speaking to a group of people, and he said, yeah, why do you guys care? And there was kind of this we can be getting money from the United States for decades now to fight AIDS since the 80s. And he's like, you understand that their president wanted to get elected president, and he wanted to do right by the American people. That's why he was elected president. If they just keep sending us money, then that's a problem, and they don't owe us anything. Like we're not doing anything for them. If you want to fix your problems, then fix your problems yourself. That's accountability. Basically, I'm not saying quoting what he said. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but you get the gist of that. And people were like, "Oh my gosh, what a crazy guy!" But why is that crazy? Like, once you become dependent on somebody else.
No, the same thing is happening in our country. I saw some woman on TikTok, because TikTok's so great. I'm really glad we didn't lose. I'm glad Trump was able to come in and work out something in the meantime so we can hear complete idiots and losers continue to vent. This woman's like, my husband and I are government assistants. We have 2 kids. Like, he asked me where I wanted to go out tonight for dinner. And I said, well, we can't because Trump's in office. He's going to cut our checks. We're going to have to go find jobs.
But
because the same thing is happening right here. The government was just giving people money that didn't deserve it. Okay, if you qualify for assistance from the government, you get a year. You have a year. We're going to pay you money for not the rest of your life, not until you find. No, you have a year to figure it out. Can you imagine how much money we would save if we just gave everybody a year, and they would have to go figure out something. 805-543-3693.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. I mean, I don't know.
Instead of like giving them this open-ended checkbook, here's the checkbook. Don't give them a checkbook. Give them a check. Here you go. You're covered for a year, and you have a year to get your S together, get things figured out, go get a job.
Yeah, but people will wait until the
11th
month.
Well, then they're out. Then they're screwed. That was their fault.
Oh crap, I got to find a job. It's March, you know.
What happens if you don't do your homework when you get home from school? Well, then you got to do it after dinner. If you don't do it after dinner,
you do it on the way to school
early in the morning, and you got to do it on the way to school.
93.3 KZOZ rocks the 805.
Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.